is our old buddy Andy Kroll, the reporter with ProPublica, previously with the Washington bureau chief for Rolling Stone, the author of A Death on W Street, The Murder of Seth Rich in the Age of Conspiracy, ProPublica.org, of course, the website, and Andy Kroll, K-R-O-L-L, is his Twitter handle. And he's got this brilliant new piece out, Inside Ziklag, the secret organization of wealthy Christians trying to sway the election and change the country. Andy, welcome back to the program. It's been too long since we talked.
It has been. Good to be back.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So tell us about this network of ultra-wealthy Christians. First of all, how do you define ultra-wealthy? Why do they call themselves Christians? And who are these folks?
So we define ultra-wealthy as, according to this group's own documents, $25 million in net worth or higher. So that's awfully wealthy. I mean, we're talking the top tiny percentage of Americans.
Yep.
They are, by their own definition, again, conservative Christians who believe really in a Christian nationalist worldview, one in which every major sphere of influence, every major part of American society is influenced or led by a biblical worldview, or what they would call, quote, biblical truth. And this is a group that, again, we wrote a big story about at ProPublica because they are trying to do, this group Ziklag, this network of ultra-wealthy conservative Christians, they're trying to do in their own way what Charles and the late David Koch started doing about 15 years ago, which is bringing together these ultra-wealthy business people, executives, kind of oligarchy types, get them all in alignment, have them pool their money together and try to change the direction, not just of American politics, but of American culture writ large.
When you say, biblical standards for America, or whatever the phrase was you used, what do you mean specifically, policy-wise?
Yeah, biblical truth, I think, is the word that they use in their documents. Yeah, so imagine taking the certain texts of the Bible and applying it as directly, explicitly, literally as you can to everything from arts and entertainment, to education, to the family, to the business boardroom, and to the government and to politics. And so just a few examples that we pulled out from our reporting and put in the story. So take arts and entertainment. This group believes that 80% of all movies that come out of Hollywood should be, in their view, G or PG rated, and that the people who run Hollywood, who run the entertainment industry, should be people bringing a biblical mindset to what gets made, what's in the movies, what's in this content, what's in the engine of sort of creative culture in America. You could look at education. This is a group that believes homeschooling is a fundamental right. They believe that parochial schools, religious schools, should basically stand on an even ground with the centuries-old public education system in America, have access to the kinds of public money that public schools do right now. You could look at the government, where this organization believes that all governing, all legislation should flow from the teachings, the ideas of the Christian Bible, King James Bible, or whatever version you want to use. Everything in their view flows down from their interpretation, this very conservative, evangelical interpretation of what's in the Bible, even going to the Ten Commandments. So it's not a sort of humanistic worldview, or it's not taking the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, as the sort of place from which all of the great ideas about American democracy flow from, but really the Bible is the fundamental text.
So presumably
for this kind of
outlaw abortion, outlaw gay marriage, outlaw gay sex, outlaw being gay. Impose a religious test for public office, only Christians need apply, those kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, certainly LGBT rights, same-sex marriage would go away.
Yeah.
Any sort of, not even just transgender rights, but just the recognition of trans as an identity period would go away. In fact, one of the documents we reported on said that acceptance of transgender people is one of the last steps towards societal collapse. I mean, that's the kind of language we're talking about here.
Right.
Yeah, really, I think maybe one of the best ways to think of it is that this notion of a separation of church and state,
right,
really
is gone.
It's gone.
So,
yeah, is eroded. Yeah.
So you say that, in your article you mentioned the Ulane family, I believe he made his money in shipping, the Greens who run Hobby Lobby, the Wallers who own Jockey Apparel, so much for buying Jockey underwear, huh? Turning Point USA, well, actually, before I get to that, where did the word Ziklag come from?
Yeah, it's a biblical reference. It comes from the story of David and his, battle struggle with King Saul. Saul wants him dead because Saul's been told that David is the true ruler, the true leader. And so David is on the run. He's seeking refuge and safety from Saul, who he believes will kill him. And he finds this refuge in the city of Ziklag.
There you go.
And hides out there. And so I think the interpretation for this group is that they see themselves as under attack. They see Ziklag as this refuge for their members and their beliefs, but also a sort of staging point from which to fight back against what they see as all this evil.
So what kind of initiatives have they undertaken? Where are they focusing, and where can we expect to see them popping up? And I get it that they're trying to be kind of on the QT, right?
Very much on the QT, yes. Self-described, private, confidential, invitation-only organization, this group, right. Ziklag. Yeah, they have a very ambitious 2024 plan. They are spending upwards at least of $13 million that we know of in a very, very targeted way. They're spending it in battleground counties, not just states, but counties. So Maricopa in Arizona, Fulton in Georgia, places like that. They're spending it to try to mobilize conservative, Republican-leaning voters who maybe don't vote in every election or maybe are on the fence this year, trying to get those people in. That's a crucial demographic in this election.
They're aggressively pro-Trump, in other words.
That's certainly what the documents and the reporting that we have indicates. But the other piece of this is spending a significant amount of money to knock more than 1 million people off the voting rolls in these key states and counties. And a little bit of money goes a long way in that kind of quote unquote election integrity, what some people would say voter suppression kind of work.
Right, yeah. And have they encountered any resistance? Is anybody fighting back?
Well, I don't think people knew this group existed until we did this story. I mean, in some ways, we are putting this group on the map in the public consciousness by the reporting that we've done, which I should say drew on thousands of internal documents, videos, emails, a real trove of information. I think the response to the story certainly has suggested that people want to know more and that they don't agree with this agenda. But this is the first time a lot of people are hearing about it.
Now, I understand also they're a 501c3, not a 501c4. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Which means that to maintain their tax-exempt status, they have to be non-political and non-partisan. How do they pull that off if their goal is to get Trump elected?
According to the tax experts we interviewed, they're not pulling it off. They are just acting as if the absolute prohibition on political intervention for a C3 charity group. C3 is like United Way, Boys and Girls Club.
And churches, by the way.
And churches, exactly. They're seeming to act like this doesn't apply to them. They are very involved in political work, and 6 tax experts, and all nonpartisan that we talked to, said that. This group is testing, if not violating this prohibition on political activity.
Well, you'll recall,
that is another part, yeah.
Yeah, you'll recall during, I think it was the 2000 election, it might have been the 2004, but it was one of the Bush elections. There were churches all over the country that were openly preaching, vote for George Bush, and IRS, come and get me, I dare you. And the IRS just completely backed down. I mean, has anybody heard a peep from the IRS about any of this stuff? There's like 700-800 radio stations that broadcast Christian broadcast all day long, and they used to be just all about religion. Now they're all pitching, Republicans too. I'm baffled why the IRS is not doing something about this. The law is not ambiguous.
No, the law is not ambiguous. And what this group Ziklag's doing, I would say, is a continuation of what you described. You see these C3 religious organizations continually pushing the envelope and basically daring the IRS to do something about it. The IRS has not given any indication that it is planning to do something about it, but it does seem like these groups more than ever are pushing the limit here.
Right. Right. Well, it's a remarkable story. Andy Kroll, the reporter with ProPublica, you can check it out at ProPublica.org. The headline, Inside Ziklag, Ziklag, the secret organization of wealthy Christians trying to sway the election and change the country. Brilliant reporting, Andy. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Keep up the great work. We'll be back in just a moment at 16 minutes past the hour. Stay tuned.